Hi and welcome to this yoga practice. Today we're going to focus on our breathing to start, and we're going to do that from a seated position. So if you're not comfortable sitting on the floor, grab yourself a seat for the start of the practice and then just have your mat nearby for the rest. So bringing ourselves into a seated position, I'm going to sit side on because we're going to go through creating a little bit of length through the spine, space around the back of the rib cage to make it easier to breathe. So just starting off, placing one hand on your breastbone, one hand on your belly button, and think about drawing these two hands apart. So lifting your breastbone up and away from your belly button. Now, naturally, we tend to tense our shoulders when we do that. So lift the breastbone up and away, and then afterwards, just check that your shoulders are relaxed. The second thing that we can do to create a little bit of space is place one hand on the front of the rib cage and one hand on the back. Oftentimes we lean back, flare the ribs out. This locks up the back of the rib cage. So press the front of the rib cage in and feel the space that you create at the back of the ribs. If you can't feel it, let your ribs flare, lean back, then press the front ribs in and think about creating space in the back of the ribs. And then from here, you can place your hands on your legs. You're just going to breathe in through your nose, down deep into the belly, and exhale fully through the nose or mouth. Taking 3 more easeful breaths here, breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the nose or mouth. Now we're going to add a little bit of movement to this. So in your seated position, as you breathe in, think about lifting your breastbone and your gaze up towards the ceiling. Keep your hands on your legs. And as you breathe out, nod your chin to your chest and picture your breastbone moving back into your chest so you round your spine. Inhale, lift the breastbone, lift your gaze up. Exhale, round your chest, head down. 2 more of these and sync with your breath. Then you can stay in the position you're in. We're going to go through a little neck stretch. So placing your right hand on your right leg, reach your left arm out to the side, rotate it so the thumb faces down, and then bring that hand behind your back. See if you can catch a hold of your right arm, or if not, you can just hold on to your shirt at the back. Imagine pulling that right arm down towards the floor to create space between your right shoulder and right ear. And then let's create more space by tipping your head over to the left. Feel the stretch through the right side of the neck, and then just nod your nose up and down. So a gentle, small movement up and down. And you should feel the stretch travel from the back of the right side neck to the front of the right side neck. Bring your head back to center. We'll reach the right arm out to the side, rotate so the thumb is down. Reach it behind your back and take a hold of that left arm if you can. Otherwise, just think about pulling your left shoulder away from your left ear, and both hands can stay forward, no big stress. And then tilt your right ear over to your right shoulder. Feel the stretch in the left side neck. Maybe have a little compare. Is one side tighter than the other? And then nod your nose up and down. So really common to have one side tighter than the other because we all have a hand that is more dominant. Bring your head back to the center. And now we're going to go onto all fours, and we're going to bring in a little bit of rotation or a twist if it's comfortable. If it's not comfortable, I advise you just to go with a nice simple cat-cow where you arch your spine up and then lift your head and tail. Otherwise, we're going to take this right hand off, keep a soft bend in your left elbow, reach the right arm through, palm facing up towards the ceiling, and rest your head onto the ground. Your weight is into that right shoulder a little bit. And just take 3 breaths here and think about breathing into the back of the rib cage, in particular that space between your shoulder blades, which can often be like an area where we feel pain and discomfort if it gets tight. Then press through that left hand, come back onto all fours, weight goes into your right hand, soft bend in the elbow. Pick the left arm up and thread it through. Palm facing up, head rests on the ground. And again, you're focused on breathing into that part of your rib cage between your shoulder blades. Press through that right hand, come back up. And from here, we're going to focus a little bit on hip movement. So we're going to get a little dip in our lower back so it's not flattened. And think about pressing your chest away from the floor. So we have a little bit of a dome shape between our shoulder blades. It's not flat and dropped. So now that we have a neutral spine, we're going to try and move our hips. So you're going to start off by floating your right knee off the ground, and you're going to lift the right leg up until the right thigh is parallel to the floor, and then lower it back down. So what you might feel working is the right hamstring, the back of the thigh, and the right glute, so the right butt muscle. What we do not want is we do not want your lower back moving. So if it helps you, you can place a hand on your belly, and your belly should not drop down into that hand as you lift the leg. Think about pushing your heels straight up towards the ceiling, trying to get that thigh parallel to the floor, and you should feel some tension in that right glute when you get to the top. Just going for 3 more. If it's too much on your right hand, have both hands down. And then swap it over to the other leg. Give your hips a little bit of a wiggle. Give that right hand a bit of a shake out if it's not used to taking load. Hover your left knee off the ground. It's going to stay off the ground the whole time for this practice. Lift the leg and lower it. If you want to check in that your spine is staying in neutral, put your right hand on your tummy, and your tummy cannot drop down into that right hand. Pressing the heel up towards the ceiling until you get that thigh parallel. When you get your thigh parallel to the floor, you should feel a bit of tension in that left glute. You should feel no discomfort in your back. If you do, just return to that nice cat-cow movement where you arch and dip your spine. Bringing it down, give the hips a little shake from side to side. And then we're going to do another hip movement. So straighten the right leg out. Again, you're keeping your back in neutral, a little dip in the lower back, upper body pushed up towards the ceiling. And we're going to reach out through the heel of that back leg. Lift the leg, move it out to the side, tap the ground, so it'll be outside your mat. Then lift the leg, move it back in line with your hip and lower it down. And we're just going to go for 4 more of these. So waking up the muscles that control our hip. They also support our posture, and if they work effectively, can take a lot of work away, a lot of load away from our lower back muscles. Last one. Again, give your wrists a little shake out if they're tired. And last little round on all fours, so slide the left leg out. Keep that nice neutral spine. Lift the left leg, move it out to the side, tap the ground, and then pick it up again and bring it back in line with your body, in line with your hip. And we are going to go for 5 more. Feeling a little bit of work in that left glute. If you want to check in on things and also make the exercise a little harder, put the right hand on your tummy. You can also put it on the front of your right hip. Last one. And bring yourself back. We're going to press back into a child's pose and just give the wrists a swirl around to give us a little bit of a break. And then from here, coming onto all fours and stepping up to the top of the mat. We're going to fold at our hips to sit down. And like we checked our posture at the front, we're going to make sure that we're not locking down the back of our rib cage. So press the front of your ribs in, create space at the back. You should be able to breathe into the back of your rib cage. Once you can achieve a bit of movement at the back of the rib cage, try and keep that as you lift the arms, hips go a little lower. 2 breaths here. Have a quick gaze down at your feet and make sure that the second toes are pointing straight ahead on both feet, so not turned out to the side. And on your next breath out, bring your hands down to your hips. Keep your gaze and your chest looking straight ahead. Even push your chest back a bit. Shift your weight to the right leg. Keep that right hand on that right hip. Try not to let the hip jump forward. Take the left heel off. And then if you're able to, take just the entire foot off, so just your toes of the left foot are on the ground. You should feel the right glute, maybe the right quad, start to wake up. And then slide the left foot back. So your right butt cheek is stabilizing you. And you could also think about that left shoulder blade hooking back. So you have the support of this sling of muscles that go from the left shoulder blade to the right hip. If it's comfortable for you, reach that left arm up. Feel the left shoulder blade hug your upper back. And you're here for another 3 taps. Or you can just stay here and hold in that position with the heel off the ground. And then press through both feet, both hands come down by your side. Breathe in as you reach the arms overhead. And you're going to take a hold of your left wrist with your right hand and pull it up towards the ceiling and over to the right slightly for a side stretch. Inhale, reach both hands up towards the ceiling. Take a hold of your right wrist and pull it over to the left. And then soft knees, fold all the way down to the ground. Press your hands into your shins as you lift your head and chest. Exhale as you fold forward. On your next breath in, push into your feet. Use your hands if you need to help you up. And we're going to fold to the hips and go back into our chair pose. Again, make sure that you're not locking the back of the rib cage, so push the front ribs in. Push your whole chest back a little to get a bit more weight into your heels. And then inhale to reach the arms up. Take a nice deep breath in, breathing into the back of the rib cage. Breathe out, sink the hips a little lower. Bring the hands to the hips, shift your weight to the left. Pick the right heel up and give your left leg a little bit of a chance here to start working. So you should feel a little bit of work in the left glute, left butt cheek, and perhaps in the left quad, front of your thigh. And then when you're here, if it's comfortable for you, slide the right leg back. Your other option is to stay with the feet still and just reach the right arm up. If you want to reach the right arm up, feel the right shoulder blade hug your upper back, and we're engaging this sling of muscles that go across our back from the right shoulder blade down to the left hip. Tapping the right foot back. You should feel things working quite hard now. And we're going for another 3. Then both feet together, press the feet into the ground. Inhale to reach the arms overhead. You're going to take a hold of your left wrist, reach it up and over to the right. Reach up towards the ceiling, take a hold of your right wrist, reach it up and over to the left. From here, soften the knees, fold forward. Breathe in, press into your shins, lift up halfway. Think about loads of length through your spine. And exhale to forward fold. We're going to press down through our feet to come all the way back up into standing. And we're going to check in with our good posture for breathing and standing to end the practice. So place one hand on the front of your rib cage and one hand on the back. Notice if you lean into your back a little bit. Think about pressing the front ribs in and lifting the ribs at the back apart. So creating space at the back of your rib cage. Get your head over your chest. And then from here, relax the hands down by your side and breathe in through your nose, down deep into the rib cage, and then breathe out through your nose or mouth. 3 breaths here to finish your practice. Breathing in through the nose, down deep into the rib cage, lungs, and breathe out through your nose or mouth. You can open your eyes if they were closed, and you're all finished your yoga practice for today. Well done.